It's 3:23, so some movies to review. What comes first?
Shall we do Happy Feet 2 or 2 Happy Feet? So you remember Happy Feet?
I do.
The Penguins.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it, actually.
Oh, I wasn't crazy about the first Happy Feet movie.
I wasn't crazy about it, I just didn't mind it.
No, okay, but what I was saying was I wasn't crazy about it, and the reason I wasn't crazy about it was it seemed to me to come in the wake of March of the Penguins, in which was that, you remember the whole thing about March of the Penguins was used by some people as the argument, the proof of the existence of God.
Got into
how did the fish get out of the water?
Who was driving the boat?
Okay, fine. So now, Happy Feet 2, some of our old chums reunited. A new peril. This time they are cut off by a large iceberg, and they've done a sort of sunken bit of ice, and other penguins have to go off and get help from other penguins, and there's a penguin that appears to be flying. He's not really, because we know he's not really a penguin, he's obviously something else. And we have new characters, Krill. Matt Damon and Brad Pitt voicing Krill. Here's a clip.
Hey, Will, is that you?
Of course it's me.
Can't you tell? No, not if we all look the same.
I don't.
Will, we are Krill. We are meant to look the same.
Not me, Bill. There's only one of me in all the world. I am one in a trillion.
Where are you going?
I'm leaving! I want to be free, Bill!
There's no such thing as free, Will. Come on, less thinking, more swarming.
I'm sick of swarming. We've been swarming all our lives.
Sometimes, Will, it's like you've got a mind of your own.
Tell me, Bill, what lies beyond the swarm?
More swarm.
And then?
Some more swarm.
And then?
Will, there's nothing but swarm. We are a swarm without end.
Everything's got an end. See? I end here.
That is not a happy ending.
It stands to reason, Bill. If I swim against the swarm, I must eventually reach the end of the world. Yeah.
Now, the funny thing with the first Happy Feet was, you remember the story was, it was to do with, the penguin singing, and then another one dancing, and then tap dancing, which, let's be honest, doesn't seem like it constitutes much of a story.
No.
And yet, but the whole thing sort of worked on this strange principle of karaoke penguins, that essentially what they would do is take established rock, pop classics, and then very slightly twist them round so that when sung by an army of sea mammals or sea birds, or that somehow they seem to make some kind of sense, but not really. And I remember watching most of Happy Feet thinking, I don't get this at all. What was the meeting that they had in which they said, and apparently George Miller was working on it for ages and ages and does indeed predate March of the Penguins in terms of its production history. So the first film left me rather cold, and I was kind of surprised by how successful it was, because it just seemed like a strange project. Now, in terms of the second film, it is true that narratively it doesn't have what now looks like stripped down and ruthlessly linear structure of the first film. I mean, narratively, it's much more of a mess. There is a strand over here, there's a strand over there, there's the thing about the flying, there's the thing about the starvation, there's the thing about the ice and the thing with the ship, and then there's the krill and the existential discussion, and it is all over the place. That said, and I know that this sounds stupid, I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed the first one. Partly because the animation design is, it's spectacular in the sort of, in the easiest sense of the word, in that there is a lot of spectacle in it. There's a lot of whooshing and squishing and flying and swooping and diving and stinging and fishy and watery and blah, blah. And the whole thing kind of barrels along at this, everything cranked up to 11. And then there is the bizarre celluloid jukebox of them singing this collection of popular songs that you've never heard murdered in quite the way that they're done in Happy Feet 2.
Is it like the Chipmunks do it? Because the Chipmunks...
the Chipmunks is different, because the Chipmunks is everything is sung in that
Pinky and Perky
voice. In fact, I used to have a Pinky and Perky record called Pinky and Perky's Pick of the Pops. And it was one in which it was like, remember those old Top of the Pops records in which cover versions of the records that were in the
with
charts,
a scantily clad lady pirouetting.
That's right, yes, and I don't know how they ever ended up with the Top of the Pops name. Presumably they had it before the show, but it was like that. Well, no, it's not like that at all. Essentially, it is like...
It's not like
Pinky and Perky, and therefore it's not like the Top of the Pops albums, and therefore it's not like the Alvin and the Chipmunks, which is how we got to this point. It is much more like... Here's what it reminded me of. You know that stage show, which I haven't seen, incidentally? You know that stage show, We Will Rock You?
Yes.
In which apparently it's karaoke.
It's quite successful.
And there's a character in it who's called Scaramouche Fandango, or... Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, fine. But the story is that it's Queen songs that you know, but twisted just the right amount out of shape in order to somehow make them fit into this narrative of Diddley Bong going up to
And then Thunderbolt and Lightning.
Then Thunderbolt and
coming.
Lightning, and they are very, very frightening.
Are they?
Me, apparently so. As I said, I don't know.
Does Galileo turn up?
He probably does.
Magnifico.
Along with Figaro, and they are all Magnifico, yes. And Mama, she
You know that is what we have stumbled upon there is the greatest pub quiz question ever.
What?
Which is we've given the answer away already, but the question is, which is the classic British number one which doesn't mention its own title in the course of the whole song, but does mention the title of the song which followed it at number one? And the answer is Bohemian Rhapsody, and it is Mamma Mia.
Did Mamma Mia knock Bohemian Rhapsody off the top spot?
I believe so. Either
Okay.
that or Figaro.
Right, all of which brings us very, very circuitously back to the strange issue
Isn't
of Happy
that the
Feet 2.
greatest question?
That is very good. You've
Thank
now
you.
spoilt it by putting it on national radio, and thanks for that. But it brings us back to the issue of Happy Feet 2, which is, obviously, it's a narrative mess. Obviously, it makes not more but less sense than the original. Obviously, all the problems that prevented me from liking the original very much are still there, and if anything, they are multiplied. And yet, somehow, I enjoyed myself in Happy Feet 2, or 2 Happy Feet, whatever you go, than I did in Happy Feet 1. I can't find any way of explaining it other than perhaps the shock of the singing karaoke penguins the first time round has I now got used to living in a world in which that's a massive hit movie, and second time round I went, hey, all right, I'll buy it. Do the Queen songs, do them on ice, do them with the krill, it's fine.
Listening to that clip made me want to go and watch Aladdin again.
Okay, fine.
Because Robin Williams.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
when Robin Williams voiced Aladdin,
That was a watershed. That was the moment at which suddenly you got that thing about famous comedians will now forevermore be voicing these things, and we will let them go off on a rant. But Happy Feet 2 better than Happy Feet 1, but I didn't like Happy Feet 1, and I understand that structurally it's not better, it's worse.
But you had a good time.
I did.
Okay.